Hi, it's the Global Online Math Tutor, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how to calculate permutations and how to calculate factorials. Okay, because factorials and give you an idea of why factorials are useful and how to calculate them and show the steps. Because sometimes your teacher will ask you to calculate factorials, but you can obviously compute it on a calculator, but she or he will ask you to show the steps. A lot of students have noticed through my years do not show the steps, and that is why a lot of students don't do well in math, is because they don't show the steps. So you must show the steps, and I'm going to explain how to show steps when if the teacher does ask you about how to calculate this specific quantity that involves a factorial. But before I do discuss that, I want to discuss how to just idea behind the factorial. Why do we care about them? Why is there use for it? So let's look at this example. I have 4 people running a race, and I want to know how many ways can that 4 finish the race. Well, let's look at this example. Well, for first place, there's only 4 people that can be for first place, right? 4 people. So there's 4 options, 4 people, right? But once we know who the person is going to be for first place, then there's only going to be 3 people for second place. And once we know who's going to be for second place, then we're going to choose. Then there's going to be 2 people for second place, for third place. And then once we know who's going to be for third place, then there's only 1 person left for the the fourth place, right? So if we take them together, if we multiply them together, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 is 24 ways the four can finish the race. Now we can write 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. We can write this quantity right here, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, as 4 factorial. Okay, so this is the idea. We can express 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 as 4 factorial right here. Okay, so you can write 4 factorial as 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So you could think of 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 as 4 factorial. 4 factorials, think of it as abbreviation. Okay, so the notation, and so what do you think if you don't know that 4 factorial is just the fourth 4, and you take 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, what do you think is going to be 5 factorial? Well, 5 factorial is going to be what? 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, right? If it's 6 factorial, it's going to be 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And I think you're getting the idea of the factorial. So the factorial, if I want to get a general idea what a factorial is just n factorial, which is the first number n, and then multiply by n minus 1 times n minus 2 times n minus 3 times 3 times 2 times 1. Now the key here is this formula, this idea, this factorial works when you're dealing, the factorial, I just want to keep important note. The factorial works when you have positive integers or 0. Okay, it does not work for negative integers or positive non-integers. So I'll give an example. So, for example, if I asked you what is -1 factorial, and you plug it in a factorial, and if you plug it in your calculator, it's going to be undefined. Okay, and if you take, say, a decimal, let's say it's 3.1, let's say 125. Say factorial. Sorry, let me scroll it down. If you plug that in your calculator, it's also going to be undefined. So the factorial formula, this works when you have positive integers or 0. Now, what do you think? What do you think 0 will be? You may ask, okay, is 0 factorial is going to be 0 times -1 times -2 times -3? but the problem with that, it is that if we keep going negative, the problem with that is that it will not stop at 1, right? So that's the problem, because if you look at 6 factorial, it starts at 6. Let's see here. If you look at 6 factorial, let me use my hand. If you start at 6 factorial, if you look at 6 factorial, you got 6. You start at 6, and then you stop at 1. But if you do 0 factorial, it's like, think about writing that down. Like you would think about it. It didn't even make it. Think about it. 0 factorial would be writing as 0 times negative 3, negative 1 times negative 2 times negative 3. It doesn't stop at 1. So what is the actual value? And some people say, why is 0 factorial be 0? Right? So what is really, sorry, so yeah, sorry, what I was saying is that some people might think, oh, why not 0 factorial not be 0? Well, if you plug in your calculator, you will see that 0 factorial will be 1. So by definition, 0 factorial is always going to be 1. It's never going to be 0, and it's never going to be 0 times negative 1 times negative 2 times negative 3 times negative 2 times negative 1, so on. It's always, by definition, is going to be 0. Okay, so it's always going to be, by definition, it's always going to be 1. So 0 factorial is always going to be 1. Okay, so let's do some examples to calculate it. So let's calculate what's 6 factorial. So here I want to show the 6 factorial. So if your teacher asks you, compute 6 factorial, but show the steps, this is how you do it, okay? So you write 6 factorial is 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. If you take 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, you're going to get, this is 720. Okay? Now let's look at another one. Let's say I want to compute this quantity. So I want to evaluate this quantity, 85 factorial divided by 81 factorial. And here the key is you have to show the intermediate steps. Okay? Your teacher may ask you to compute this quantity. But you cannot use your calculator. So a lot of students will do is they compute 85 factor in their calculator, compute and store the value in their calculator. They'll compute 81 factorial, store in their calculator, and then just take and store that value in the calculator, and then just divide the two numbers and get the final answer. And they'll write equals the final answer, right? But no. If you read the instructions of this question, it wants you to show the steps. Some teachers, or statistics teachers, want you to show the steps for something like this, okay? So you need to know how to do it. So I'm going to show you how to do it in this problem, okay? So the first key idea is this. So the first thing is, let's write 85 factorial, okay? So 85 factorial, you can write it as 85 times 84 times 83 times 82 times 81 times 80, but they'll take forever. So this is the idea. Okay? You write this as 85. So the top, you write 85. You can the top number, 85 factorial, you can write it as 85 times 84 times 83 times 82 times 81. But this is the thing. Instead of writing 81 times 80 times 79 times, so on, so on, so on, so on, so on, times 1, I'm going to write this as 81 factorial. So that's all I did is express 85 factorial as 85 times 84 times 83 times 82 times 81 factorial. And I'm going to express the bottom number. I'm going to leave that as alone. It's going to be 81 factorial. Now, what do you notice about the two? Notice what you know is common between the numerator and the denominator. They both have an 81 factorial. So there's an 81 factorial on the top. There's an 81 factorial on the bottom. So they cancel each other out. So what do you get left over? You get 85 times 84 times 83 times 82. And if you plug that in your calculator, which I'm going to just right now calculate that for you, it's going to be 48,594,840. Okay? So that's the final answer. Okay. The key is you got to show. A lot of students will write when they have a question like they ask you to compute 85 factorial divided by 81 factorial. They write this number out, and then what they'll do is just plug in the calculator, just write this final answer right here. They'll just write 85 factorial divided by 81 factorial equals this. But the question says you have to show the steps, and some teachers will want that, and they might ask this as a question. So I'm just giving you a heads up. So okay, so this is very key. Okay, some teachers, your teacher might ask you this: what is 0 factorial? And if you wrote 0, you're going to get, some teachers will ask you what is, what is negative 1 factorial. Some teachers will ask that. They'll ask you what is negative 1 factorial. And if you say it's, if you roll it's some number, or then you're going to get 0, right? But if you roll undefined, you get a full answer. So some teachers can write negative 1 factorial. Some teachers in the exam or in the test or a quiz can ask you what is negative 1 factorial and 3.125 factorial, and your teacher can ask that. So you got to be better be prepared for that and the answer undefined. Okay, so I hope you like this video. I hope that it gives you some ideas of what your teacher might ask you in the test and exam. If you have any comments on how to improve any comments or feedback on how to be a better teacher through my videos, please comment. I like to read your comments because I like to improve as a tutor, and your comments can help me a lot to improve on that. So please comment on the video. If you like this video, please like the video. If you feel this video can help others, please share this video with other people, and please hit the notification bell so you're notified for more of my videos. And please subscribe so you can please subscribe to my channel. If you like my channel, please subscribe. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and bye for now.